Welcome to my world. I'm Takhar, and I want you to come follow me on my journey as I document the ups and downs of running a business. I've been in sales and service for over 25 years. See, my cup's full now. It's my time to give back to you. The conversations I'm having with guys and gals in the industries of real estate, entrepreneurship, and leadership. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and all you have to do now is sit back, relax, and come into my world. Hey, it's the Takhar podcast. I'm your host, Takhar, and today's episode is going to be about, is Toronto still a safe place to invest when it comes to real estate? But before we get to that, if you're new to this podcast and you want to learn more about real estate investing, how to buy, how to sell, you want to learn a little bit more about how to sell real estate yourself, be a salesperson? Are you just getting started out in business? Do me a favor, click the subscribe button for more videos and more podcast episodes. I'm so excited today to have our co-host back, Laura.
I'm back.
I didn't even get a chance to say Laura Elto Stewart.
I cut you off.
You did.
I'm just too excited.
And I'm used to that anyways. So welcome to the first episode, live recording of the JTP podcast.
And we have our new equipment.
We have so much new equipment. Steven, AKA Rochester, went on a massive shopping spree.
Spent all of your money.
Big shout out to Simos. I gave him Simos' credit card. Simos, love you.
He doesn't know yet.
He doesn't even know yet. Leave us a comment, guys, if you like the audio, you like the visuals, because we are so excited about all this new equipment we have. We have live shows coming very soon. At the time of this recording, we're obviously sitting at December 2nd right now. And so moving into 2021, from a real estate perspective, we're going to go live on Facebook with our brunch series every single Saturday. Make sure, Rochester, that you just put that in the description, that every other Saturday, every other Saturday, we're going to go live with our brunch with our EC series. Okay. I got a new show coming up that I'm very excited about as well, live on YouTube every Wednesday. Where I'm going to
at noon, right?
At noon. Thanks for reminding me. There's a lot going on.
There's so much.
I need like notes and stuff all over the place to remind me. Every Wednesday, I'm going to be going live on YouTube at noon, at lunch. So bring some food and chill out. And I'm going to be talking to salespeople, consultants, advisors, inspiring business leaders, and answer their questions. So like, tell a friend, bring your questions, and try to stump me. I'm all kidding aside. Look, guys, our cups are full now. Like myself, Laura, I think I can speak for you, Simos. We just want to give it all away right now. And so make sure that you come join us. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's very easy. You should already be subscribed and have that drop the bell, as the kids say, to be notified about our show, my show every Wednesday. It's called Ask Jazz. And again, I'm going to be talking to salespeople and consultants. But today, Laura,
yes,
on our first live recording of the JTP podcast, we're going to be talking about, look, we get the call a lot, right? Is Toronto, during this pandemic, during the lockdown in December, still a safe place to invest in real estate? And I think it's important that we go through what's happened from a statistical perspective, because we're going to, I want people, and I know you're the same.
That's why we got our handy paper here.
Okay.
Cheat sheet of stats. We need to look at them.
Because then everyone can make an informed decision themselves. Okay. So if we rewind the clock a little bit and go to the first month, first 30 days of lockdown, okay?
Those were good times, weren't they?
Yeah, they were amazing, amazing. Love them. What you saw in terms of appreciation in that first month, so call it like the month of, when was lockdown in Canada?
Mid-March.
Mid-March, but let's just look at the stats of full of April. So when it came out in May, talking about the stats in April, we saw a neutral increase in terms of values. Values didn't go up, values didn't go down compared to the previous year in 2019.
Which is kind of unheard of. I mean, for us, we've just seen year after year of values increasing double digits for a couple years there in a row. And so a neutral growth kind of felt big. It felt heavy just at the time.
I like the word that you used. You said new. right? Like we've never really experienced that.
Mhm.
And you've been licensed for how long now? 5, 6 years?
6 years. Yeah.
You never saw that.
No.
You never saw that. It was always double digit.
Always double
growth,
digit.
Okay. Now, there's a reason for that though. Nobody was listing their homes. So there wasn't really many homes on the market, but also you also had people like you were on lockdown. You weren't allowed to leave your home. So going to see places
open houses were closed. You could still transact, yes, but people were doing virtual showings. And I think a lot of people just felt like, well, if people can't come see my home, why don't I just wait a month? Let's wait this thing out 1 month. At that time, I certainly didn't think this would be a year-long lockdown situation. And so it was just, let's just wait. Let's just sit on the sidelines and wait, let this play out, and then we'll put our home on the market. So it wasn't necessarily that people didn't want to buy or there weren't buyers for homes. It's just that everyone was waiting to let it all, like the dust settle.
And you said not even put your home on the market, which was on one side of the equation, but on the other side of the equation is buyers saying, we're not leaving the house. We're not supposed to leave the house. So it was actually done on purpose, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody put their home for this home for sale. Very little people put their home for sale, and you didn't have a lot of buyers. Then May's stats came out, 3.1% increase.
There was hope.
There was a little bit.
There was hope.
I don't know. I guess that's what it is. In fact, that is what it is. It's called consumer confidence.
Well, you know what it is. Like back in April, you had a lot of people who did lose their jobs, unfortunately, and for whatever length period of time that was for. But then in May, you started seeing people like companies saying, okay, we understand that we're all going to be in this for a little bit of time. So we need to figure out new ways on how to keep business going. And so I think that just propelled people to say, okay, like I didn't lose my job. I'm okay. The economy is still going. We're still chugging along. Obviously, the government put a lot of money into the economy to spur on some industries to continue to grow and to continue to foster. So people had that little lamps of hope.
Even second month in May, the unemployment rate jumped to 15%. But if you look back to see what type of jobs, it was the white collar jobs that were like offices were closed and for not allowing people to come in, but people were still working from home,
just like us. Like we figured it out. People were doing Zoom calls. I think a lot of those jobs, the entry level jobs, those would be people who would be in the rental market anyways. A lot of them, a big majority.
That's exactly what I'm writing down. I wrote 15% unemployment rate at that same time. If you look back to the brunches that we did and all the stats that we were bringing at that time, we talked about renters. 85% of tenants paid their rent. 15% didn't. The numbers correlate so like it's almost perfect,
yeah.
Right? I could be off by 1% here or there and somebody can fact check it, but I'm almost 100% certain that it was like 15% unemployment rate, 15% of tenants didn't pay their rent. And at that time, if I'm not sure if anybody remembers, but a lot of it had to do with certain groups of tenants protesting not paying their rent. Right. Okay.
Now, and those are always the people who get all the news, they make all the headlines.
Yes.
That really isn't the majority of people. And we were saying this from the start, asking landlords and tenants to work together to find solutions.
Well, as a landlord, I mean, you also needed to, like we're investors ourselves, we're landlords ourselves, that you needed to figure it out. You needed to figure it out some way, somehow, payment plans, rent discounts. And if you guys have not yet sent us a text in our text community, 647
I was going to say
372-0126. Send a text, landlord, and we'll reply back with the clauses from Douglas Levitt, lawyer that's been working with the LTB for 21 years, I think. He
Say the number again one more time. I cut you off.
647-372-0126. To our people in their cars and walking the dogs and walking on a treadmill. They can't see it. So 647-372-0126, send a text. Landlord will reply back with the sample clauses from Douglas Levitt where you can, the right way to put in rental discounts in your lease agreements. But let's go back now still, okay? So May, we saw that 3.1% increase. And these are numbers from the greater Toronto area. Always understand that that's the macro market we're speaking about. There's probably 1,000.
Oh yeah, there's micro markets within the GTA that were all behaving differently.
Well, look at you live 7 streets away from Drake.
I like to say that every time.
But on the wrong side of the tracks, right?
The tracks, whatever.
But look at the difference of like if you're on the west side of Leslie or the east side of Leslie.
Yeah, and like where I live, we tend to have a lot of immigration purchasing homes, detached homes in the area. And so we didn't see that bump that other detached homes in other areas did because there was no immigration. And so I didn't get that bump, that lift in my specific neighborhood.
If you drop us anywhere in the world, we'll be able to tell you really quickly what type of market it is. Is it a buyer's market where you're going to find a lot more deals? Or is it a seller's market where you can probably expect to pay more than ask? And how do you determine that? Months of inventory. So if it's 0 to 3 months of inventory, you're in a very, very aggressive seller's market. If it's 3 months to say 5.5 to 6 months, it's what's known as a balanced market. And then 6 months and above of inventory. How many homes and condos sold compared to how many listings are active on the market? If it's above that 6 month period, you're now in a buyer's market.
And again, that depends on the actual neighborhood or micro market that you're looking. So when we say right now, like if you're looking at months of inventory for the GTA, that doesn't mean that your micro market's behaving the exact same. So you have to drill down to your specific location.
Send us a text message, stats with, stats dash whatever micro market. So if you're in Richmond Hill, if you're in Vancouver, it doesn't matter, wherever you're listening in the country, we have partners that are very investor savvy real estate agents that will be able to get you those stats. Just send a text message, stats, to 647-372-0126. I'm really excited about the text community. You guys can obviously tell that. It is really the easiest way to get information. Let's fast forward now until to that September, October time.
Yep.
Okay. And the reason I want to do that, because you started to see consumer confidence change now. Okay. And I want to make sure that I answer the question that we posed and that we get a lot: is Toronto still a safe place to invest? Greater Toronto area in the month of October saw a 13.1% increase compared to 2019. Right now, you can get a 5-year fixed rate, 5-year fixed, for 1.89%. It's practically free. I always tell the story back in 2006 was my first home. 5-year fixed mortgage at 4.5%. I left that bank so quickly because I thought I robbed them. I thought I robbed the bank at 4.5%.
Now you're an idiot.
100%. Well, now I'm actually considering at 3.5%. I have one of my mortgages on one of my investment properties. I'm thinking about breaking it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about breaking it, paying the penalty, and going into a variable, because a variable I can get for 1.75, 1.
And we're seeing that a lot with our investor clients.
Sure.
People are getting creative.
Yeah.
That's the idea of it, right? Whenever market changes and there's big fluctuations, there's always compelling opportunities. We say compelling buying opportunities. So developers, they had to get creative about how they were going to sell. We had to get creative about how we were going to get on the phone with our clients and do deals, right? And so a lot of investors said, you know what? I might not have the cash in my bank, but let me figure this out. Let me refinance, sort something out so I can get access to money, because right now it's actually an incredible time to buy.
Okay. And I want to dive into that a little bit more, because we spoke about the 13.1% increase year over year, okay, in values. Okay. Now, some markets in Toronto proper did not see that type of increase. So to answer the question, is Toronto a safe place to invest? Guys, there's certain areas in Toronto that just went on sale. What do I mean by that? In downtown Toronto, the condos, we've seen values actually dip. Why? Because it's a buyer's market. Yeah. There's more inventory. There's more sellers on the market for sale. They're actually selling their condos than there's buyers looking.
Well, and again, think of reasons why. People are like, there's a pandemic, proximity to people. That's how this thing passes. So let me get out of here. People don't want to be in the concrete jungle. I think it might be short-term thinking, perhaps. But people,
I actually think it is short-term thinking.
They're desperate for more space, right?
I get that, and I understand that. But I've seen this happen back in, I would say even before the financial meltdown, because I was in the business. There was this push to get out and get the white picket fence and get, okay, I'm okay to travel and commute to work. And then you started to see the millennials come into the marketplace, and they're all about lifestyle. Yeah. It's all about, I don't really care about shoveling snow, nor do I want to shovel snow. I
just did that this morning and I hated it.
Exactly. How much did we hate that? Don't want to cut the grass. And I don't need big homes, right? And so we saw the push back into the downtown core. Look, I truly believe, and this is what sitting down with gentlemen and women from like the industry, like economists, senior economists who do this for a living for decades upon decades. And this is very short term. So I think there's at the time of this recording, December 2nd, 2020, I think we got a good like 4 to 5 month window where we're going to continue to see this buyer's market in downtown Toronto, where values have dipped.
People don't want to be in the city. The jobs aren't going to be there. Yeah, you're right. Maybe the jobs aren't there right now because office buildings
well,
are
the jobs
closed.
are still there, Laura.
No, that's what I mean, because the
like
physical location. So people are
exactly.
saying, so why do I have to be in the city and be paying this astronomical price for a condo when I don't even work downtown?
Yeah.
I can't even explain to you after 13 weeks of being on lockdown how badly I yearn for being back at the office, being back with my colleagues. And now we're in the second lockdown.
You just wanted to see Jazz and Steven and
Andre.
I
wanted to see the crew. And now we're like back into the second lockdown. And so we've had to tell some of the staff to go back home and everyone's devastated.
Yeah.
Like people want to be around people. I think at the end of the day, we've forgotten that. I feel like this really is short term.
You spoke about the like people worrying about the proximity of living together, touching elevators and all that kind of stuff. I think that was very early. My personal opinion on that, Lord, is that was very early on in the pandemic. To me, I look at the macro reason at why values have dropped as well as why you can expect less rent is because the borders are closed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the borders are shut. We don't have our immigration numbers.
Aren't I think that we just opened that back up to students, but I mean
it hasn't trickled in yet.
Exactly,
like we haven't absorbed that yet.
So I think once all things go back to normal from that respect, we're going to be right back where we were.
So, and that's going to answer our question. That's going to answer everyone's question. Is Toronto still a safe place to invest? Is the greater Toronto area still a safe place to invest? Okay. Exactly what you just said, Laura. We have in the next 10 years, we pre-COVID, we were expecting 2.5 million people in this 75-kilometer radius, this island, this Toronto real estate island can't build.
And we were freaking out.
You can't build on the south of us.
Yeah. We can't build to the north because of Greenbelt legislation. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to say today. So where were we going to build? We were going to build up. We were going to build condos, but we weren't building them fast enough. By the time someone comes out with an idea to build a condo, it takes 10 years until the shovel's in the ground just because of permits and zoning and getting everything approved.
All the red tape, right?
That hasn't gone away. That factor remains.
But you know what has actually increased? So that 2.5 million that I spoke about pre-COVID immigration stats, go Google them right now if you want to after the episode. Make sure, fact check that all day long. And you know what didn't happen during this lockdown? We spoke about the permits.
Yes.
The city was shut down. They weren't passing all these permits. So again.
And condos got delayed, like condos that had already been sold, they couldn't put shovels in the ground because they weren't allowed to start work. Construction got delayed.
And construction itself, like there was at one point, I don't know if the rule still exists, and I don't know what Doug Ford did recently, but I remember at the early part of the pandemic, like no construction was allowed. Then they changed it where you're allowed to have like one person in a they have to be socially distanced, but like in a lift. Sometimes you see construction workers, you see like 3 of them in there. You're only allowed to have one person. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but think it through. The service providers couldn't get in, the plumbers, the electricians, the window people, like you couldn't get any work done. And now, once the borders open up again, guys, we were in an epidemic before this pandemic in the greater Toronto area because of the housing crisis. It's actually going to get worse. And then this is not my biased opinion, okay? It's not my biased opinion. I'm an investor myself, first, way before being a real estate broker. You took advantage of your first investment property back in October of 2019.
19.
Seems like ages ago now.
And I still believe that condo went up in value over this time, regardless of the pandemic. So it was still a great investment. We always talk about not having the crystal ball. I feel like this is crystal ball worthy.
Well, it is in the sense of, so if you look back to the last 100 years, okay, the last 100 years in the GTA, every decade, on average, prices have doubled in the GTA. If you look just back at the last 40 years, you've seen a 7.2 to 7.3, call it 7.2 increase year over year. I emphasize year over year because it's compounding. So is Toronto a safe place to invest? The answer is yes.
Yes.
Your vote is yes too?
It is. Okay. I actually took the time to
However, I do want to put a caveat to it. as long as you have the mindset that this is your vehicle for the long term. If you're trying to get rich quickly, I personally don't have anything for you. But that's me. Somebody
because
else
then you're playing the luck game.
and you're speculating, right? But if you look at and understand that Toronto truly is the financial heartbeat of this country, you believe in the immigration stats, okay? I mean, I think
you believe that people will still want to come to live here.
And Lord, like if you look at the world right now, right? Like what country are they looking at when they think about the Western side of like the Western side of the globe here, right? Like they're thinking,
we like to think it's us.
I think it's us. Like there's a lot of civil unrest. I mean, at the time of this recording, I don't know who is the president, and I don't even know if they.
I don't think we're sure yet.
We're not sure yet.
Yeah, we're like a month past that
looking,
election date, and we don't know what's going on.
Right? Like, kind of kidding aside, not really. Like, damn, like Toronto is Canada first and foremost. It looks very stable. Toronto is the financial heartbeat of the country. It's where people want to come. It's very multicultural. We have tons of restaurants and lounges, the schools, the hospitals, the Bay Streets and the law firms. All the big stuff is in Toronto. And so to again reiterate, yes, Toronto is still a safe place to invest as long as you think long term. Toto, thank you so much.
I didn't even need this paper.
You didn't need this
You're
paper.
very welcome.
Well, but you've been doing this for a long time. I kind of expect you to already have it already ingrained. As always, leave us a comment, like it, share it. We love actually reading your comments. So make sure that you throw that into the section here on YouTube if you're watching. And if you're listening, make sure to leave us a rating. It always helps.